Vox, all right, which is a left-wing publication, has an essay, an inside look at how the far right is mainstreaming itself. A radical troll got unmasked and then spilled the beans. So we're talking about Jonathan Kieperman, aka Lomez. So before the era of Donald Trump, the right's very online radicals yelled at the Republican Party from the cheap seats. Now they've become players within the conservative power structure as the walls that once kept them at bay have crumbled. There's a lot of truth to that. The Republican nominee for vice president, J.D. Vance, has explicitly cited a neo-monarchist blogger as an influence on his thinking. That's Curtis Yarvin. About the executive branch, junior Trump White House staffers were reportedly all reading a writer called Bronze Age Pervert. So most people don't understand how this happened. There's a whole network of campaigners, often invisible to mainstream observers, who are actively working to bring radical ideas into the American mainstream. Well, what is considered radical would be considered normal 60 years ago. Their goal is to introduce or reintroduce ideas such as the notion that black people are generally less intelligent than white people into the mainstream intellectual world, and ultimately transform for the worse the contours of what's permissible in our politics. So listen with interest when a prominent figure in this world, a book publisher and a secret Twitter troll named Jonathan Kieperman, went on an obscure podcast to explain how his mainstream strategy works. It's about creating an alternative set of social institutions, ones that are sufficiently robust and well-established that people who espouse extreme ideas can rely on them to help weather attacks and social sanctions from the mainstream. It also depends on building ties with more mainstream conservative figures such as Tucker Carlson, who serve as go-betweens to pump the radical right's ideas into the political bloodstream. So I agree with the descriptions. I don't agree with the hyperbolic definitions. So Jonathan Kieperman runs an outfit called Passage Press, which releases terms from right-wing as historic, such as the interwar German radical Ernest Junger, contemporary neo-monarchist blogger Curtis Yarvin. He's treated as a respectable figure by the mainstream, speaking at the same national conservatism conference this July that hosted Senators J.D. Vance, Josh Hawley, and Mike Lee. Tucker Carlson blurbed a Passage Press book, a collection of essays by writer Steve Saylor, who promotes the debunked belief that racial inequalities are biological. Wow, who debunked that? It doesn't say. It just links to a cheap-shotting Atlantic article. Yet Kieperman has been leading a dual life. A May piece in The Guardian revealed that he is the person behind the prominent online right persona Lomez, whose X account calls gays people the F slur. Well, he may have used it once.